We're here to share with you inspiring stories that bring to life all the little and big ways that people bring more love, joy, laughter, and humanness to everyday life. Our focus is the hunt for those little moments that refuel the human soul and reminds us what life is really all about. I invite you to sit back, enjoy the moments, enjoy the stories, the adventures, and the journeys. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What the World Needs More of. My name is Jarek Robbins. I am your host for this episode. We are joined by special guest Jim Bubba Bay. Sir, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, Jarek.
Hey, we're excited. Now we're going to dive into the question of the show, which is, what do you believe the world needs more of?
Well, I believe the world needs more love, compassion, appreciation, belief, and patience. And the love part, everybody could use love. Some of the homeless people and all that, you give them a smile as you go by, and it makes them feel a little better, and that's just a great thing. And then compassion, caring for each other and everything's just I've learned, because I was hurt so bad, that all these people cared for me to help me get back to where I am now today. It just helps each other to care for each other and to help each other out,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, appreciation, we have to appreciate every moment, because today's the only day we got, it's it. Today's the day. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. For me, I went for the walk that night and I pretty much almost died. And, so it, changed my life that way. And it made it, more, that every day is the day, and it's a reminder. And I also had 2 kids pass away. So, it's a reminder there too, that, and they were, one was 10 days and passed away, and the other one was 18 years old and passed away. And so my whole point is, like, my 18-year-old, I get bothered because he never drove a car. He never had a girlfriend. He never got the chance to do any of that, So I've learned to appreciate, on the other hand, I still have 3 kids, so I even appreciate them more, I guess you can say, the hugs and stuff like that. It's really great. And then, everybody's got to, believe in themselves, believe in something, and believe that they can do it, and believe it, that, tomorrow's going to come and today's going to be a great day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the patience part is just, you got, people are impatient so much, and they tend to, push things and, try to get things done. And sometimes it's time, patience. Sometimes, it will happen. Sometimes things take more time than you think. Sometimes they're a little faster, but it's really a key to all that. And all that, a lot of that I've learned since my fall, and, since me getting hurt myself. It's taught me quite the lessons about all that, and often I got to remind myself of all those still, you got to remind yourself sometimes, because life can get difficult at times. So
It's true. So love, compassion, appreciation, belief, and patience.
yeah, that's it.
Powerful additions. Now, you've alluded to a fall a few times. For everyone listening, what happened?
I actually, the real short version, I went for a walk. I don't normally walk. I moved in, I rented the house from my brother. I do landscaping with my brother. He has a shop next door. And so I moved in, me and my ex-wife, we split up, and I had, so I rented the house, and I normally walk in town. I've always, as you probably can tell, the Bubba and the whole thing is, I've been a big guy most of my life. But after I got out of high school, I lost 100 pounds. And so I know what it's like to be, thin, and, and then in my adult life, I've been thin, and then, somewhat, I don't bounce around crazy, but, I'm a big guy, I'm Bubba. So anyway, but I normally don't walk around this house, but I didn't feel well that night. And I said, I'm going to have a rough night's sleeping. I'm just going to go out around here for a little walk. So I ended up going for a little walk just to feel a little better. And to make a long story short, I went down the one way that I normally don't go, and there's no street lights and stuff. And so on the way back to my house, I was just on the town road. It's a dead end road, and I saw car lights down the road. And so when I walk at night, yeah, I move off the side of the road and I stop and I wait. And so I ended up waiting on the side of the road, or I went to wait on the side of the road, and I took a step and I took another step to get off the road. Next thing I know, I'm flying through the air. So I fell like 14 feet, 15 feet, landed on my head.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up, in the end, I ended up breaking 23 bones with 26 fractures.
Wow.
I fractured my skull, brain bleed, concussion, traumatic brain injury. I broke my left scapula. I broke 11 ribs, 7 on the left, 4 on the right. And I landed and hit my left side of my head, my left shoulder, my left rib area, and my left legs. And my whole right side of the body never hit the ground. And I broke 4 ribs over there. That's how hard I hit. And then I broke C7 2 ways. And then I broke T12 to T1. I broke 9 of those. I broke 2 of those 2 ways.
Wow.
So I broke 26, bones, 23 bones, 26 fractures. And then the amazing thing is I actually climbed out of it all myself and got to the road and all that. And then I ended up, I don't know, I met God. Some people believe, some people don't believe, but I met God at the road and had a conversation with him. And next thing you know, he left and he told me, to tell my story. And, I got things to do for him whenever. And then I saw a neighbor's house and I saw a little light inside. I didn't know it was my neighbor's house. I never met the woman personally, and so I actually got up and walked 200 feet with my fractures and all that, and knocked on her door.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the one thing about it is and then the sheriffs followed my blood trail and found where I fell, and so the fact is I fell in the culvert, my blood was there, my cell phone was there, a trail to this house, and I knocked on this woman's door with and then if you believe God helped me, then you believe. Some people don't believe. Then if you don't believe that I had help from God, then you're saying I did it all myself, but either way, it's a miracle, whatever you want to believe. So, and I talk to non-believers, believers, and I'm okay talking to everybody. I don't, it's just a testimony, so whatever they want to believe, it's okay with me, So, yeah, so it changed my life, dramatically. So
I can hear that. So this is going to sound like a silly question based on what you just shared, but what would you consider to be your wow factor?
oh, well, my wow factor is I kind of just explained it all. All my life I was heavy all the time, most of my life, and 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 the sickness and the death of my kids and my fall. And why I bring that up, what's the real wow factor around all that is I'm just Jim Bubba Bay. I'm your common guy, I'm just the guy down the street, the landscaper. My family's owned a gas station 53 years, and I'm just that guy, So and the amazing thing is, if you look at me, you meet me, you would have no idea I got hurt. You would have no idea at all. So it's my wow factor is the common. I'm just a common guy, and people relate to me. That and I had all that happen to me. And by the way, on top of all that stuff, there were so many medical bills and all that. We lost all our homes and stuff like that. So we went bankrupt, and that bad thing, and that happens in the whole world. Tragic things happen, and that's what happened to us. So I have all that, so people can relate to me in all different ways. I guess that's the real wow factor, that they can relate to me in all different ways, and I have an experience to talk to them about, and I can understand them. I had this one guy. I was working the gas station real quick. He came in with he came in and he was complaining, and he was like, bitching and complaining and stuff like that. And I let him speak, and I was running the register at the time, and he just talked and talked and talked. And all I said to him is, I understand. He told me he broke his neck, and that was bothering me. And that's all I said. I understand. That was all I said. And so he got his stuff, and he was walking out the door, and he pushed the door, and he turned around, and he said to me, he said, how do you understand? How can you understand? And I said, well, I do. I really have like a 1-minute version of my story. I said, well, I broke my neck. And he goes, well, how'd you break your neck? So I went through what I just told you in a minute. And the guy actually turned around and looked at me, and he said, what am I complaining about? I got nothing to complain about. Mm. And the amazing thing was, the guy never came in our gas station before, and something told him inside to pull in.
Hmm.
And the whole idea was he was supposed to meet me. And the amazing thing, he left, and then I walked out, and there was a receipt on the ground, and I just picked it up and chucked it away to keep the place clean. And he drives back 10 minutes later, and he goes, I lost my receipt. And I said, oh, he goes, oh, it's for the business. I need a receipt. And I said, oh, no big, I printed him another one. He goes, I want to tell you, I that something told me to pull in here. I've never been in here, and it was to meet you. And the guy told me that, you know. So that happens often now, you know, but it happens for me too. I got quite the intuition now, and I'm told to, inside. I ignored it the first time, and it turned out very bad. So I learned very quickly when something inside tells me to go do it, go do it. And sometimes it's just me to meet people, for me, you know, not for them to get inspired, me or anything, just for me to meet them to make, you know, to help me, you know, to make me feel good or whatever, you know, something's in it, you know. So, but that's my wow factor, is that people can really relate to it, you know, and I have so much to talk about to people, you know. Many people come up to me since they learned about my kids dying, and they've shared their kids died on the side to me, you know. I never knew it, you know. So, yeah. So.
It's powerful. It's a powerful gift you can share with the people around you, because it allows them to experience and understand the fact that they're not alone. And that,
Right.
you know, you see what's going on in their world, and you're there to help them. And
Right.
that's a beautiful gift you're sharing with people.
Yeah, that's what I got out of the whole meeting with God and everything like that, is just to share what I've been through, to help others, inspire them, and you know, to you know, like, you know, my friend, you know, we kind of were talking one time, and we said, you know, what's amazing about your story? And then we said, well, how many people? Because my one son died in 2000, my other son died in 2006, and I fell in 2009, November 15th. Matter of fact, it's coming up. My anniversary will be 9 years. Anyway, how many people, you know, have two kids die, almost die themselves, and come back to talk about it in a decade? It's like a decade, you know? So we were like, wow, that's pretty amazing. You know, he actually brought it up to me. He said, that's pretty amazing. I said, yeah, wow, that is pretty crazy, you know? So, yeah, it's been quite the treat, especially since I was an introvert before I fell. So it's quite the gift, you know, that to be, you know, extrovert and out there, you know.
Yeah, it woke up a whole different side of you.
Oh, it did for sure. I had no idea it was in there.
Here's a question. What's a moment that's made you feel incredibly humble over the years?
I have to tell you, I when I fell, I see people since then, because I have 13 fractures in my neck and spine. I mean, I've learned through, you know, like you go to rehab, and you hear stories. People don't tell you their last name, but like a therapist would be like, yeah, I had Joe as a patient, and he's paralyzed. And yeah, Joe was on a little 3-foot stool changing a light bulb on his porch, and he slipped off and fell, and he's paralyzed, you know. And I hear all these stories, and here I go, 14 feet, 13 fractures on my neck and spine, and I do all this crazy stuff and climb out of the culvert. Healthy people have gone down there and tried to climb out where I came out. They cannot believe I climbed out of this thing. And I did all this crazy stuff, and I'm walking. So what makes me very humble, and I had to get over it, and the way I got over it, and I'll tell you in a second, but when I see people in a wheelchair, I had survivor's guilt really bad for a while, and I know it's only me in the accident, but I really felt bad, you know. And but it finally came to me through, you know, through God or through message, whatever like that came to me, is if I wasn't meant to live paralyzed, because no one would have ever found me, because I had a 4.5 inch crack in my head, and I was bleeding bad. No one would have found me. I would have bled out and died. So I was meant, if I was going to live, it would be walking. So, but it's very humbling when I see people like that. It still gets me. And I also had to wear that back brace, and you know, all that full body brace. And my dad, it's a little neat story. It was near, my dad was staying with me so that I could go home instead of staying in the rehab. And I had this turtle shell thing on and stuff. And my dad had needed these meds over, you know, about a half hour away. And we have this favorite Chinese buffet, and it was New Year's Eve, and we had no plans. And I just got hurt not too long ago. And my dad was like, you got to come with me. I can't leave you home. And I'm like, I know that. So we put all my braces on, and I walked with a walker. And that's very humbling too, to be honest with you. So I'm walking with a walker to the car. And so I get in the car and we go. And then my dad's like, hey, you want to go to the buffet? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I can help you get food. I'm like, all right. So I go to the buffet. And normally when I went out, I always covered my brace up with like a big sweatshirt and stuff. I forgot all that. So I took off my coat and everything like that. And next thing you know, everybody was staring at me.
Hmm.
So it was very humbling. I was on the other side of the fence when people have something wrong with them and stuff. You know, people stare, you know, I was that person. So it's very like, that hits home with me too. Very humbling and very, you know, changed I never really stared too much, but we all do. You know, sometimes you look and stuff, but now I really like, I in those situations, I always look at them appreciative of what they've been through or what they're going through or whatever, you know. So it's been, you know, very, very humbling, that whole experience there.
Hmm.
So
What about an awe-inspiring moment?
I have to tell you, meeting God was the most, you know, amazing thing in my life will ever be. I don't know if I'll ever get back to that, you know, point. It was just amazing. I actually got to this log on the road. It's a very key part of the whole thing. I got to this log on the road, and everybody would know they're laying on a log at night. You would know, I would know. We all know one, but can you describe the log? So they were going to fly me in a helicopter. That's how bad I was, but they couldn't fly the helicopter, so it was too foggy. They couldn't. There was no street lights on the road. There's only like 7, 8 houses on the road or something like that. It's a dead end road, and there's no the moonlight wasn't there. There's no sunlight. A car would have picked me up because when I got to this log, or they would have stopped to help, I was only like a few feet from the road, 3 or 4 feet, and I was a bloody mess. And I was laying this log. I closed my eyes and I was just content and dying. I was as peace as dying as could be. And the next thing you know, this light bright came outside. God came. My kids were there on the side, and I didn't talk to them, but they were there, and I had the conversation and all that stuff. But while I was laying on this log, I was able to see you know, those logs that lose their bark and they're like a telephone pole on the outside, a little soft on the inside. They had that look. I was able kind of to see what I was laying on, and then I had that conversation with God, and just it was so beautiful, and the colors and just the whole thing, and you know, and then he left. And the amazing thing was I was never told what to do next. I just was I got things to do or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's great. And then I finally you know, saw that. I know it's symbolic, but it really was a little tiny light. And the amazing thing of it is that house with that little light, a lady wasn't home my neighbor wasn't home when I fell. She had just gotten home from a 4-hour trip from Jersey up to upstate New York, and just got home soon before I knocked on her door. So she wasn't even home. And if this woman wasn't home, I'm dead on her lawn, you know, because there was no way I was getting any further. And so anyway, when they put me in a coma, I was deuced in a coma and all that stuff, because the most best pain meds weren't taking care of my pain. They weren't even touching so they put me in a coma. And when I woke up out of coma, I told my family about meeting God at a log, and they said, well, there was a lot of blood on the log. You definitely stopped there. And I said, well, the log has no bark, no branches. And they were like, whoa, you know, but yeah. And so, yeah, I said, yeah. So to fast forward, they made a Karen Bridge is a great .org you can make a web page for people who are sick, cancer, you know, anything, hurt. And what it is people sign on with their email, and then whoever's running the little web page for whoever, you know, update on Jim. He's out of a coma, you know, and they push send, and everybody gets an email that says something new happened, bad or good, something new happened. And so you can go on and follow. And so nobody's calling the house and bothering the family. So it was great. So when I was in rehab, my brother had pictures on there of where I fell, and he said, you want to see where you fell? And I said, all right. So I didn't really know if I wanted to anyway. So he showed me the first picture. There was the log I described straight out of a coma to a T that I told him I met God at that night. To a T, you know? So they and I was a believer before this, but all these experiences, they always have an aha moment that you really got to scratch your head and go, well, wow, how is that possible that he could, you know? So it was exactly I described where it was and everything, right out of a coma, and it was pitch black out.
Wow.
So yeah, So
Wow.
it's amazing stuff.
What an experience. That's
Yeah, it is.
certainly an awe-inspiring moment.
Yeah, that it is. That it is.
What
That
about
is.
what about your greatest fear?
Well, I actually, I don't have any fears no more. And why I say that is because before I fell, my fear was dying. I was afraid to die. I really was. It was a really, really, really big fear of mine is just dying and stuff like that. And when I went through my, my accident, my fall and all that stuff, I thought I was dead. I literally did. I never died. I never. Oh, and the other thing, I had an in-body experience. I didn't leave my body. I didn't go up to heaven, look down. I didn't get above the trees, look at myself. I had an in-body experience, and I pretty much was almost dead, but I didn't die. I didn't like totally die. I was ready to die. I was like, okay, this is it. My life's over, and so I don't. I guess it's like once the fear, like your worst fear, is like answered, it's like it's answered, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not there no more. uh do I want to die? No, but I'm not afraid to die. And that's the difference. I'm not afraid to die anymore. Have no fear in it at all. I just, do I want to die? No, but and I was at a party and I was talking to somebody, and then somebody else overheard, and they were like, oh yes, you are. You're afraid to die. And I said, no, I'm sorry. Once you've been there, I mean, other than the pain and all that, it was actually kind of beautiful in a way, you know. Uh, but I didn't leave heaven and stuff. But other than the pain and all that, and of course missing my family and all that on this part. But to me, I had a couple kids in heaven. If you believed in heaven, my one son was 10 days and died. My other son was 18. Where would they be? I didn't know if I was going. I didn't know if I was going to have this, the ability to go. I didn't know, but that's, but dying, I'm not afraid. So I don't really have any more fears. you know I'm not perfect. Like things come, oh, I gotta think about that. I wonder if that's gonna happen. Oh, maybe I better be careful and stuff like that, but I'm not afraid or anything. Matter of fact, it's funny. I used to be afraid of the horror movies, and my one son that lives with me now. Doesn't even want to watch them. And there's two of them. My daughter's coming to visit, and I want to rent them. I want to. I'm not afraid. I like I want to go on ghost hunts. It's crazy the things that have like changed in me. I want to. Let's go. So it's been quite the amazing thing.
Hmm.
So it's been really good. Really, really good.
I love it. Now, what are you most excited about for your future?
Meeting people.
Hmm.
Meeting people. I just, I before I fell, I was an introvert. Once you met me, uh, I'd talk your ear off. I literally would. Once I got comfortable, you met me, I'd talk your ear off. I could talk all you want, but to meet that person was a challenge. I was afraid of the phone. I'm not gonna lie. Even to that day, I was 46, I think, when I fell, or 44, and I was still afraid to use the phone. I mean, literally, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh well, I better no, especially calling somebody new or a new business. I mean, simple stuff. I know it sounds crazy, but that's where I was, you know, and I just, and since my fall and all this, just meeting people is just, it's just amazing. Like I do inspirational speaking and all that, and I gotta, next Saturday I got to talk over by Danbury, Connecticut, and I'm just excited to meet the people, you know. What excites me the most, though, to be honest with you, is once people know what I've been through, they come on the side and they feel comfortable telling me their stuff.
Hmm.
And amazing stories out there, amazing stuff. And people, like some people meeting God. Of course, I put it out there that I met them, so people come up with these amazing stories, and they share them with me because they know I'm not going to judge them.
Hmm.
And then these other people come up to me, and it breaks my heart because my heart's broken for my kids, and they share that their kids died, and I had no idea these couple or these person or this man or woman had kids die, or a kid or kids, and they come and share with me, and it makes you feel I guess warm inside in a way that they feel comfortable to share with me, and and they say they help me. I help them, they help me. It's like both ways. And so I just meeting people. I just like even with you. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this, right now. But I'm meeting you, and we're connecting, we're talking, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. I did an event. Here's an amazing thing, and I have to tell you, I did an event and everything, and I, um, I have a book out there. Anyway, and this is an amazing thing. So I put it on Audible, okay?
Hmm.
And I have to tell you, this is really maybe this is the most humbling thing, whatever. So I did this book event in Middletown, okay? And I went there, and this blind lady showed up on the front sidewalk, and there's like a strip mall, and I don't know where she's going, but and we look out, and I had to go to the bathroom because I just got there, and then another blind lady showed up, and then I'm like, whoa, maybe they need, but they had their dogs and all that, and then a gentleman came. And I'm like, oh, they're good. My friend Joel, who runs the Christian bookstore in Middletown, he was there. And he was like, oh, they look good. Okay. So off I go. I'll go to the back. So in the back, I go back to the store, go to the bathroom. I come out, and he yells out, Bubba, they're here to meet you. And I'm like, whoa, they're here to meet me. I had my book done on Audible. Anyway, the one lady, they can't see. The one lady can barely see. She puts this thing on her head, and like the magnifying, like this little glasses, like 2 feet from her eyes or whatever. Anyway, she loves Audible, and I still to this day don't know how she heard about it. And she saw that my book was on Audible and listened to it.
Wow.
And they loved it so much. And it even gets more wow, right? So they come, their dogs, they come all just to meet me. Talk about humble, right? They love it. And of course, the one friend there is like, I want to know what God sounds like, and I want to know what he looks like. And of course, the woman's blind. You know what I mean? So I told her, and they were hugging me, and and stuff like that. And I was just blown away. So we take pictures. I got pictures and stuff, and it was wonderful. I was just blown away, and it made it all worthwhile. All the Audible, whatever I spent, or whatever, it was all worthwhile just for that one moment. So they go. And they were hung out for a half hour, 45 minutes with me, and they leave and they go on their way, and the rest of the night goes, and it went well. I met people. I go to these events to meet people. I don't care about anything else. So I'm done, and I go up to Joel, and I wanted to buy a movie and a book or something like that from him, and I go up front, and I'm paying for the stuff, and he goes, yeah, that was some day. I said, yeah, it was a great day. I just love meeting people, Joel. I became friends with Joel. And yeah, he goes, that was something else about the two blind ladies and stuff. I know their name. One was Gail and one was something like that, but I have my memories sometimes from my brain injury. Anyway, so he goes, yeah, he goes, amazing. I said, yeah, it was amazing. They come to see me. He goes, Bubba, he goes, you don't know the whole story. I said, what are you talking about? They came to meet me. It just blows my mind. He goes, Bubba, you really don't know the whole story. I said, what are you talking about? He says, those women live in New York City, and somehow they got all the way to Middletown, which is an hour and a half or whatever. They took this long trip just to meet me. All from this, Audible, and I'm listening to it, and it's very humbling when that happens, that kind of thing. Like they come to meet you, and it just was an amazing. I think I didn't go through the door too well because my hit the ceiling, only because it just blew me away. It wasn't like, oh, look at me. It was just like, wow, I can't believe that someone would want to meet Bubba or even talk about Bubba,
Oh.
and, so it really was amazing stuff, so I'm excited meeting people. It just makes my day, That's for sure.
I love it. I love it. Now we're going to transition to the second portion of our show. We call this the tactical, tangible, practical, applicable, immediate stuff someone could take and apply right into their life or business or situation. And so the first question is, what do you focus the majority of your thoughts and time and life on each day as of right now?
Well, of course, I get up, and it's, a miracle to be alive, and a miracle to be walking and to be able to function like I do. I try to, stay positive, and life still happens. And I've made some mistakes since, like big mistakes, and I'm trying to get over those. And I just try to, stay focused, positive. And I've learned today's today. I really have. I for a while, even go to the point where I fell, you know, today's today, but today's really the gift,
Hmm.
that we all have. It really is. It's the gift. Uh, I have this. My aunt helped me with this. She died. She just recently died, and right before she died, she helped me find this dentist, and I just needed some help. And when they have this nice payment plan, it really was amazing. It worked out just like I was hoping somewhere I would find. And my aunt got involved, and she found this dentist, and it's been wonderful. That they are really, really that good. And just the whole way it works, it's exactly what I needed. And my aunt found her, and then she died, and I was just waiting for the last moment to make sure what was happening really was happening, like what the bills were, how I could pay them, and all that. So I was waiting, and I wanted to get it all together and say, yes, this is so great, Aunt Barbara. This is the most wonderful thing. And she died before I told her.
Hmm.
So whenever I go to the dentist, I'm constantly reminded of her. Other times I'm reminded of her too. Don't get me wrong, but this particular time when I go to the dentist, and so don't forget to hug your kids. Don't forget to say what you want to say because tomorrow might not come.
Hmm.
And
So true.
I just learned that lesson recently. I mean, real recently as far as that part. So yeah, that's
It's
really something to do.
it's so true. Now here's a question: in staying present to the fact that it's a miracle to be alive, in staying positive and making the most of today and realizing today's a gift, what's a key to your success in that?
One of the things that I'm going to have to say is the chronic pain I have because it's a constant reminder
Hmm.
of where I've been and where I am. Uh, when I was in the hospital, I said to myself, well, you break 26 fractures, you can't expect to come out all perfect, especially land on your head. You just can't. To me, you can't, but you can get as best as you can. And I said to myself, well, I'll take what God has, that I can do. When people are amazed, I'm actually landscaping again, and people cannot believe I'm doing that. And so, that's uh, the keep going factor, just keep pushing, keep going, but also learn that, you know, allow things to come to you too.
Hmm.
You got to be out there, but you also got to learn, things happen, things come to you, uh, you know, things like that. And you just try to, stay positive the best you can. And uh, my spirituality's blown up. It's just blown up. I mean, when I fell, I was a Christian believer. I didn't know the Bible. That's part of my message. God's for everybody, because I mean, you shouldn't show up for me because I just believe, and I called myself a Christian. I went to church on Christmas and Easter. And other than that, I never went to church. I don't know the Bible. Didn't read the Bible, and I just didn't, and He came for me. So God's for everybody. And that helps, in the end for me too, is to know that. And when things get a little difficult, uh and I have to say, the other thing is great friends and family. Of course, great family. uh what an amazing gift that is,
Hmm.
to have a family and friends that are really, really great and really loving and caring. And because when you slide down a little bit, they pick you up. Yeah, I'm human. I have my days. Sometimes the chronic pain's a lot, and then I let it. Like, oh man, I got to go do this or whatever like that. And I try not to complain about it and stuff like that. But my son sees this stuff, and he's 21 years old, and he'll send me a text message on, hang in there, daddy. Love you. And 21 years old boy. It's not even a girl. It's a boy. And he sees this, and he goes to work himself. And when he's on his break, he'll send me a message. Have a great day. Hang in there. Kind of thing. So that certainly helps. That
Hmm.
certainly helps.
And so, our final question, which is, what's one actionable tip we can leave others with of something that they can be doing each day to experience the kind of beauty of life that you're experiencing? Because for so many people, getting knocked down, falling down, breaking, injuring yourself, going through all this trauma would be a horrific experience that causes so much pain and tragedy. Having chronic pain would be a reminder of how bad life is. But instead, you've chosen to remind yourself to how beautiful life is, and the fact that you're alive, and the fact that there's so much opportunity, and it's such a beautiful just moment to be able to meet someone new. And so if someone really wanted to cultivate that mindset and that experience in life, what's one actionable tip we can leave them with that they can apply each day to experience that kind of, I'm going to call it, success in their life?
Appreciation. To appreciate every moment, every day, everything. And I'm sorry, I know some of the stuff's all cliche, but always look at the situation glass half full the best you can, because there really is. I mean, when you look at things, there really is. There's always like an amazing thing. It's like, wow, that really, really, really was bad. But man, isn't that amazing? Like breakdown or we recently had a truck blow a tire. Well, normally the trucks, on the landscaping crews, they go their separate ways. We happen to be going that particular day, that moment, following each other to a job, and that's when the tire decides to blow up. So, and oh, by the way, oh look, there's a little side road that hardly anybody travels, like literally like 50 feet up the road, and so yes, it messed up the day some and all that, but oh, look at all this appreciative things that happened for that, like some of the bad things that happened to me since I've fallen have actually propelled me to greater heights, because it's, pushed me another way, said, well, that didn't work out. Now let's try this way. So appreciate the best your ability, appreciate all, every day, every moment the best you can. And even when bad things happen, the more and more I've learned, I look back at all the things and I've realized, boy, there's some good in it. There's something good happened, or it's really not as bad as you thought, because look, it could have been 10 times worse because that didn't happen and that didn't happen, just all that. It's just been to appreciate everything and learn, and gratitude, of course. You wake up, it's the same similar word, but just appreciate, and I've learned that, and I still, I'm human, like I said. I still have my moments. It's like, okay, and then when push comes to shove, that's the one, when people can relate, to their tragedy, and their story. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a testimony, all different ways, and that's what I love hearing from people. But when I really get pushed, like pushed hard, then I realize, wow, okay, it's 13 fractures on your neck and spine, and I broke C7 twice, and I'm walking. I mean, Christopher Reeve broke C7, and he was a quadriplegic and died, and here I am, broke C7, and two ways. I don't know whether he did it one or two or whatever, and then all the other fractures, on my back, and I'm walking, So when I get down to that point, and I think everybody in life has something they could turn around and look and go, wow, I was there, or that happened there. Wow, okay, I'm not too bad now. I really believe that. I really believe that.
I love that. Appreciation. Looking at the world with the glass half full, and really truly finding the good in all that you're doing. That's beautiful. It's beautiful, it's powerful, and it's true.
That it is.
Now, sir, I heard you mention that you had a book earlier.
Yep. Yes, I do.
If people want to read this book or find this book, where can they find it?
Well, right now it's kind of timing thing, but I had to change publishers, so the physical book is about to come back out. It's a revamped somewhat a little bit. It's coming out with a 2018. It's called Miracle on Hammertown Road, but the Audible and the ebook are still out, so they can get the audiobook and ebook now, and the physical book will be available soon on Amazon and all that. It's just had to get a new publishing company. My other publishing company had difficulty, so I got a new one. And then, of course, JimBubbaBay.com is our website, and that's where they can go, get the information and everything there too, and see what I'm doing.
Perfect. So JimBubbaBay.com, and then if they want to look online, they can find probably via Amazon.
Correct.
The
Amazon.
On Hammertown Road.
Right. Hammertown Road. Yep.
Very cool. Well, thank you, sir, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
For everyone who's tuning in, if you know someone who needs to hear this episode, please make sure to share it with them. We believe your sharing is caring, and we like sharing people around here, so make sure to share. And I look forward to seeing you all next episode.